So next up, we have the Norena Group with Komlan Batchey. Come on up. Komlan is joining us all the way from Earth University in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
But you didn't get here straight from Costa Rica. In fact, you had a little problem getting here last night. Is that true?
Yes, indeed. Like I flew to Duluth. Like I was supposed to meet my the other teammate Ben, and like on our way coming to Michigan, like we had problem with the car.
The car had broke. So did you say Duluth?
Yeah, Duluth.
Well, my whole family is from Duluth. It's a beautiful place.
Okay.
I love Duluth.
Okay.
But the problem was in Wisconsin, which makes me think, like, were you eating cheese? It's not good for your digestive system, right? It slows you down. Anyway, well, good luck. We're glad that you're here. I heard you had a good rehearsal, so you got in late, but you had a good rehearsal, so, well, best of luck.
Okay, Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Komlan Kekeli Batchey. I'm originally from Togo, but then currently studying at Earth University in Costa Rica. So, and I'm here like in the name of the team Norena Group. We believe, we believe to be able to have a good project, to run a project in good times, you have to have in your team, let's say the right people, those who you can trust, those who can, when the energy is down, those who can motivate you and stuff. So I'm going to present to you my team. First, is called Mark Eric. He's from Cote d'Ivoire, but currently studying in South Korea, major in risk management. Ben, hi Ben, is in the audience. Ben, who studied in Northland College in Wisconsin, and he studied natural resources. And Michael studied in Kenya. He's from Ivory Coast. His major is international relations. And Remy, who studied at MSU, Michigan State University, I think it's close, right? And he studied environmental engineering. And myself, Komlan, I studied agricultural science in Costa Rica. So about us, we are all Africans, and our project is based in Africa, especially in Ivory Coast, in West Africa. And we are all alumni of the African Leadership Academy, a high school based in Johannesburg, South Africa. And one thing we met at African Leadership Academy, and we developed that friendship. But then also one thing that put us together was the passion for environment. That was like one thing that we have in common still. So the Wege problem. Well, I remember like in my entrepreneurial leadership classes at ALA in South Africa, my professor used to tell me, an entrepreneur never sees Wege problem, but then he sees opportunities. So yeah, it might be a problem, but then also we see it as opportunity. For example, this statistic in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, like 13% of the waste are woods and dairy products. And these waste, they have definitely consequences, okay? They cause flood during rainy seasons, and also they contribute to the spread of disease. And it doesn't look nice because you have disease everywhere in the streets. Also, the environment part doesn't look nice. They say water is life. So imagine you drinking polluted water. I mean, it's not good for your body, right? So also it's a problem because it's a consequence of this Wege problem, as we see as opportunities, and also the chemical fertilizers solution. Well, especially with the pineapple side, we're trying to do leather, like this material. I think all of you know it, the leather, okay? So that's what we are using the pineapple waste to do. And also compost in this domain. I'm an agricultural engineer, so I think it's nice for me, So we are going to use it to increase crop production, and also in that way tackle the problem of hunger. You get it? And also, we are a team that, yeah, you have the project, but we always want to improve, bring innovation, thrive. So we also want to have a research center that we always be looking for new ways of how we can manage those waste. Our impact. So definitely after collecting the waste from people, and they come to our facilities, we end up having things like animal feed, fertilizer and clothing, and other goods. So it's like we're giving like another type of life to the waste. They are not waste anymore, but they are something good. So impacts. First of all, the environmental impacts. Definitely we are bringing a better way of managing waste, and also we are improving the sustainability of our city. And well, we're starting from Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, but then later we spread on the African continent and the whole world. Social, we definitely bring in the employment to the youth, to our peers, Africans. And also, we are avoiding, preventing those diseases to spread. And better condition for the health of our people. And having definitely a cleaner environment. And I don't know, the leather that we normally use is made of animal skin, like buffalo and stuff like that. But then we are going to do leather with pineapple waste, which is kind of like preventing us to use the animal. So we are kind of also protecting the wildlife. You guys, because they also have their input to the ecosystem. So we would like to stop using the animal skin to produce leather. But then, like, we would like to use the pineapple waste. Prototype. So at LA is the African Leadership Academy in South Africa. We had two projects. One is called GreenLink and the other is called Kijani. So what we basically did was like collecting the food, like in the dining hall, those food that was wasted, we collected them and did compost. And that compost was sold to a local farmer around the school. So this prototype, the team members are the same as the Norena Group right now, because for some, GreenLink was an enterprise. At that school, there's a program called the student enterprise program, where we are asked to form like a project and run as a real enterprise. So these team members were the one who funded that enterprise, and it was based on that the campus. But then we had partners outside school. But we are aware that definitely we have some barriers, So first, and we know this based on what we did for the prototype. First is the mindset, because sometimes you look well for people like from waste, you have shoes or you have animal fertilizer. People might not really like trust us, But then we are dedicated to this project that you have to make it something reliable, You have to make people believe. And definitely, like during the prototype, the first stage was really difficult, but then at the end we started seeing the changes, because people started like believing, it's possible to have such things. And also, when we start this project, Norena Group, we would like to get a certification that will be used to demonstrate to people that what we are actually doing is something that they can trust. Numbers. I'm sure not everyone likes numbers, so I'll make it for everyone to get. So we estimate the value of the project to be $17,150. No, sorry, it's $13,710. And that one we kind of divide it into 4 quarters, okay? And also in those quarters have different things like the manufacturer, footwear, the fertilizers, the raw materials, and the goods service, and the rest done. Okay. The raw, if you see like the third row that says the raw material, is because there's an enterprise called piñatas, I don't know if you know, that do something similar. And what we are trying to do is to kind of work in collaboration with them. So we're gonna produce the fibers and sell to them so that they can produce the leather. And then after we can buy that same leather from them, because we also have like another, let's say, team member who studied in Paris, who's a designer. By the way, what I'm doing is from her, designer. So we'll buy that leather from her, and then she designs shoes too. Well, no, the shoes are not from her. She designs shoes, and she's a designer in the fashion domain. So we're gonna buy those leather from them because we cannot produce the leather ourselves yet, So we're gonna sell the favor to those piñatas. They produce the leather, they buy from them, and with the help of our designer, we can have our products. And yeah, thank you.
Little mishap there with my microphone. Thanks, Komlan. Great presentation. We're going to let our judges have a little dialogue here. So I'm fascinated by this idea of pineapple leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, it's just like, pineapple is one of the products that pollute the most. I'm talking about like in the agriculture sector, right? So what we're trying to do is to take advantage of those ways to produce leather. So that leather is more like friendly with the environment, and we're not using the animals, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You should get together with the furniture folks, right, and have like pineapple leather furniture. I mean, that just markets well, I think, right? Like,
definitely.
Who wouldn't want to buy that? I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it would bring this whole thing to full circle. So I'm impressed by how much you've been involved in like student leadership, and both both in Africa, but at the university that you're at now. Talk to me more about that. What kinds of things do you do in terms of organizing with students?
Oh, okay, nice. Okay, currently I'm the vice president of the African Student Union in my school at the university. So, what we basically do is to come together as Africans and share that's our culture, our beliefs with our friends from Latin America, And by the way, like on the 23rd of May was African Day, so we celebrated there, and we had like performances, food, like good food from Africa,
Yeah.
And it's just to share with our friend from Latin America, because we are kind of, we have like Africans on campus who are willing to do that. Yeah.
Well, and it's great too. You have to create, community, and you might as well be getting to know each other rather than just sort of hanging into your group. You want to interact with the other students at the university, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's see if our judges are ready. Yes? Sure, they're ready.
Okay.
All right, I'll start off. So thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask you a little bit to explain the decision-making process around, instead of making your own pineapple leather, purchasing from Pinatex. My understanding is that they're actually quite a startup themselves, and there's other examples in the kind of design world of people who have been making kind of leather-like products from fibers like pineapple and such. So my understanding in general of the field is that it may take a bit of development for you guys to create a recipe that works with the specific fibers that you have, etc. But it may be worth your while to do that development, in the sense that I'm just curious of why you've gone down the road of selling your fibers to another company who's going to make the pineapple leather versus developing your own recipe yourself.
Okay. Us selling the fiber to piñatas, let's say that one is just to start, okay? It's to start, because like in the long term we would like to produce our own leather, right? To produce our own leather. So we decide to sell them, because them, let's say they are all kind of like already doing that, and us we require more of machinery.
Machinery?
Yeah. We will require more of that to be able to produce that later. So we decided to produce the fiber and sell them, and then we can have revenue. I guess then, like, as the time goes, our revenue increase, and we'll be able to get the machinery that we require to produce our own leather. Yeah, and also pingates. Well, they are kind of startup too, but then they are not in Africa yet. So it's like an opportunity for the two of us to collaborate and also bring them like to be present on the African continent.
That's great. Can I just follow up?
Yeah,
so
sure.
from that perspective, are they a partner from a knowledge perspective as well? Are they willing to share knowledge about their process? Because otherwise it seems to me that you're just allowing a potential competitor to come into the space that you could be occupying in Africa. Like, well, in the sense of facilitating their development in Africa is great for them, and you could potentially partner on that basis. But if you want to develop your own material at some point in time, are they sharing some sort of knowledge about the production process with you, or anything like that?
Yeah. So like the potential partner, because when they have like their facilities in Africa, we'll be working together. We'll be working together to produce, and we have been like trying to get in contact with them, send them emails, and I think like in the future definitely we are going to work together, and yeah, they are going to share, their knowledge with us, because us will be based, it's our home, will be based on the continent, so it's like they give us something and we give them something too. Like it's a partnership. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. So you brought up this designer that you have. You're wearing some of her stuff. Has she been able to make any prototypes of something that was made from a pineapple produced leather, or any other type of?
Okay, I would say not yet, but it's in the process. Not yet, but she's working on that, because she's a student, and sometimes to balance time between studies and stuff is quite challenging. So. Yeah.
Well, I thought you brought up a great point when you talked about the consumer confidence in buying something or wearing something that comes from a food waste. And so I thought that was actually a very good point, because I think that what would help you overcome that is being able to show an example of something that was made from this, and basically almost not letting people know what it was made from, having them make their own decision on how the quality looks, the design, and then letting them know that it's coming from the source that it is coming from, that you guys are creating.
Oh yeah. Like I said, like it's in the process. Like we are trying to do the prototype with what I've been saying, but then it's not finalized yet.
Okay.
I wish to, so that I'll bring it here and they say.
Right.
What does the customer do with the pineapple leather at the end of life? So you have done a good job of proposing pineapple fiber to stay in the economy, but what happens to that Pinatex material once the customer is finished with it?
Oh, like we're trying to have like a circular economy. So after, our product can last, let's say 10 to 15 years. So after using that, when they are used, we are also promoting recycling. So we're going to be collecting those used ones from the customers and try to have another product, like to recycle them. I don't know if I'm okay. To recycle the product, because you want to do something like in the circular economy. So let's say you are a customer and you buy the product from us, you use it. When it's you have we can come. It's a waste. We're going to collect from you. Then you go to the process again. At this time I think it will be easier because the pinata is already there, so it's just we are going to recycle them and produce a new product again.
Got it, thank you. And Colin asks, what ideas did you consider and reject before you decided to go with pineapple leather?
What ideas?
Yeah. So when you were looking at pineapple fiber waste, you decided to convert it to pineapple leather. Yeah. What other ideas did you consider for pineapple fiber waste?
Oh, well, first, like, we were working, like, in general with the food waste. So it was not only pineapple, it was like, whether it's tomato, no, say, like, any type of waste. But then, that one first, we wanted to do charcoal. Sorry, say this. Does anyone speak Spanish?
Over here.
Okay, cool. Carbon. Charcoal.
Okay, come on.
So that's what we wanted to produce first with any type of food waste. But then, still like it's something that will pollute the environment. And we are trying our best to be like friendly with the environment. So we decided to choose pineapple waste specifically to produce that leather, and also like bring sustainability more to the, to the fashion, let's say, domain. And yeah.
I have a quick question or a two-part question. What's currently being done with food waste in these communities?
Sorry, but I think nothing.
Nothing. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they must go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Is it just?
I mean, like, they just collect and they dig a hole somewhere and they throw it.
Okay, because often what happens is it gets plowed into fields. It gets plowed into the. So that's not happening in this case then.
No,
Okay,
really.
good. Then that negates my second question. Thank you.
Welcome.
I just have a quick question. You mentioned a lot of other aspects that you're interested in making: animal feed, fertilizer, clothing, and goods. Do all of those things only require the input of food waste, because that's your main feedstock, or do they also require other inputs into the process in order to make all of those goods? I'm just curious what your production process looks like, or what you envision.
For the other things, like animal.
Yeah, you mentioned animal feed, fertilizer, clothing, and goods. Can you make all of those things from food waste?
Yeah.
Is there other inputs that you need in order to make those?
No, really. Okay. No, like for the animal feed, we just, what I'm studying, we do those things. We just need to put them together. Okay, I'm not going to explain the whole process, but then you don't need like too much things from like other materials. The main thing is the food. This is the waste. You can use it and get compost. In the case of compost, it's very easy to do. And animal feed, maybe add some small things, but then they are not that, let's say, hard to get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Very good.
Thank you.